Right, guys, welcome. Hiya, Tia. Okay, to this afternoon's session. Okay, comments are going off. Can you, when you've tuned in, you've settled down, can you have a go, please, at the grid in front of you? Okay, we got lots of questions on the cards today. Okay, loads in this. So this is how at what's in front of you, please. I'll give you 6 or 7 minutes. There's a lot in today. Right guys, last minute, finish off as much as you can. If you can't see certain ones, don't worry, I'm going to go through them in a sec. Get as much done as you possibly can. Right then guys, very quickly, I'm going to ping through all this, okay, and we'll get stuck into what we're doing today. So question 1 actually is what we're doing today. This is the topic we're doing. So I'm going to go through it quickly, and I'll go through it in detail during the lesson. Now, factorising and solving quadratics like this, you're putting it back into a double bracket. Okay, so I've got an x on the left and an x on the right. Okay, when you're doing that, okay, I've got to look for two numbers. They've got to multiply to make positive 15. And add to make negative 8. Two numbers that come to mind for me, 3 and 5. And if they're both negative, they'll give you a positive 15 and a negative 8. Okay? In order to solve, okay, one of those brackets has to equal 0 if they're going to times together to make 0. If they're going to equal 0, the left-hand one could be 0, which would mean x would have to be positive 3. Or the right-hand one could be 0, which means x would have to be positive 5. Okay, that's the first one done. 2 points. Shh. Stop biting yourself. 4x take away 1 equals 2x plus 7. Okay, I'm going to work this out. So I'm going to take away 2 from both sides. Take away 2x. Always get rid of the smaller x first if you can. Smaller letter. Gives me 2x take away 1 equals positive 7. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. 2x equals 8. 2x equals 8, so that means x has to be 4. Okay, very straightforward. Okay, it takes 3 steps. Okay, just a little bit longer than normal ones. That's that one done. It's 1 point. Next one. Okay, this is factorising on the top, factorising on the bottom. Again, we're going to get into this properly today. So if you're not sure how to factorise into a quadratic, okay, I'm sure you will understand by the end of the day. So I've got x squared plus 8 plus 12. Okay, put those into a double bracket. And then I'm going to put the bottom into a double bracket. Okay, now the top one into a double bracket, I've got to find two numbers that multiply to make 12 and add to make 8. I'm thinking x plus 6, x plus 2. And the bottom one, same thing. Multiply to make 24 and add to make 10. I'm thinking x plus 6 and x plus 4. Okay, once I'm there now, I'm going to cancel out ones that are the same. X plus 6 and x plus 6 can go. So my final answer will be x plus 2 all over x plus 4. That can't be simplified anymore. So that's the final answer. There's no more left to go for that. 3 points. 0.258 is a fraction. Okay, we did this last week. Okay, I've got to get the... I'm going to write this as an equation. So x equals 0.258. 58, stop growling at me. 58. I'm going to try and get both recurrent digits over the decimal point first. To do that, I'm going to times by 1,000. So 1,000x equals 258.58. 58. Then I'm going to times by 10 to get the first recurrent digit next to the decimal point. 10x equals 2.5858. Those that have done this lots, okay, you can see my main objective is to get the recurrent digits lined up with each other, because if I take them away then, I end up with 990x equals 256. These bits cancel each other out if you take them away. Okay, because they're identical. 990x equals 256. Okay, no, that's not allowed. Equals 256. Okay, from there I can do x equals 256 over 990, and that may simplify. I'm not sure. Okay, you may have to work on that one a little bit for it to simplify. I can definitely half it to get 128 over 495. But again, I'm not sure it gets any smaller than that. Okay, that's your final answer. Next one. That's 3 points. Next one, 25 to the power of 3 over 2. Okay, this one, okay, there's two rules going on. There's a 3 on the top, which means cube it, and the number on the bottom of the fraction means square root it. I'm going to square root it first. If you square root 25, you end up with 5. The bit I haven't used stays there, the cubed bit. 5 cubed is just 5 times 5 times 5, which gives you 125 as an answer. 2 points. Bit of surds now, expanding brackets with surds, okay? Times the first two, it's a bit of FOIL, times the first two together, 5 times 6 is 30. Outside edges, 5 times root 3 is just 5 root 3. Inside edges, root 3 times 6 is 6 root 3. And then the last two, if you times a square root by a square root, it just cancels out just to leave you a positive 3. If I write all this in one line, I end up with 30 plus 5 root 3 plus 6 root 3 plus 3 on the end. Now this does simplify. The 30 and the 3 go together to make 33. And the 5 root 3 and the 6 root 3, altogether I've got 11 lots of root 3. And that's my final answer. Because if you got that, I'm really impressed. Okay, it's probably not a red style question. It's probably a yellow or a green. 1 point. Down the bottom, bit of trigonometry, okay, bit of basic trig. Okay, again, a topic you must get mastered, okay, especially if you're a higher tier pupil. So, I'm going to label my sides. I've got my opposite. I got my hypotenuse. And I got my adjacent. Now, I'm going to write down SOHCAHTOA exactly the same as I would every single time. Okay, looking at these, I don't need the opposite, because opposite hasn't got anything on it. Adjacent has got x, we've got to find x, so that's really important. And hypotenuse has got the number 8, so I'm going to use that. So I don't need opposite, so I'm going to cross off opposite. And I'm going to be using CA. Cos in the bottom left, A on the top, H in the bottom right. Times in the middle. Okay, once you're there now, I want to find what A is, so I'm going to write A equals, or it's the same as x equals. If I cover that with my thumb, my working out is cos of whatever the angle is times by h. So it's cos 39 times by h, which is 8. All of that goes in your calculator. Make sure you close the bracket after the 39. I get 6.2 centimeters for side x on the bottom. If you wrote 6.22, that would be the same as well. 1 mark. Okay. Bit of green now, simultaneous equations. Okay, I want to get rid of the y's. Okay, in order to do that, I'm going to make them both the same number. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to times the top by 3, and I'm going to times the bottom by 5. If I times the top by 3, I end up with 9x minus 15y equals 33. Bottom, I end up with 20x minus 15y equals 66. Now, if they're different, you add. If they're the same, you subtract. So they're the same, so I'm going to take away. That'll get rid of the middle bit. Take them away, I get 11x. Remember, you've got to visualize the big numbers are on top for this one. 11x equals 33. 11x equals 33. X would have to be 3. That's halfway there. Once I know x is 3, okay, I've got to substitute that back in. Doesn't matter which side you go for the substitution. Okay. I'm going to put it into the top one. So I end up with 3x. Let's turn my brightness up a little bit. I end up with 3x. So 3 times 3 is 9. Take away 5y equals 11. Okay. If I add 5 and take away 11, I end up with 5y equals minus 2. And if I divide through by 5, I end up with y equals minus 2 over 5. 3 marks. Last one. Okay, h is indirectly proportional to the square of b, when h equals 3 and b equals 10. So, form an equation in terms of h and b. We did this in a lesson earlier this week. Okay, h is indirectly proportional to the square of b, so it's h fish sign 1 over b squared. My formula is h equals k over b squared. I'm trying to work out what k is first, so h is 3, so 3 equals k over 10 squared. 10 squared is 100, times through by 3, so k equals 300. If k is 300, okay, k is 300, and I want to put it into my formula down by there, so I've got h equals 300 over b squared as my formula. When b is 5, find out h equals 300 divided by 5 squared, which is 25. H would have to be 12. Job done. Right, guys, add those up for me, please. See what you got out of 18. Again, if you got some of them wrong, that's okay. It's higher tier. There's a lot of difficult stuff by there, okay? So that's okay. Right, guys, so first things first. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. I think of two numbers. Sum means add, so they add to make 5, and they times to make 6. What are my two numbers? 30 seconds. These two numbers add to make 5, and they multiply together to make 6. These two numbers would have to be 2 and 3. Okay, because 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 add 3 is 5. Same thing on the next one. I think the two numbers, they add to make 7. Hey, shut up. Stop it. They add to make 7, and they times to make 6. My two numbers would have to be 1 and 6. Next one. These two numbers add to make 10, and they times together to make 16. These two numbers have to be 2 and 8. Because 2 times 8 is 16, 2 add 8 is 10. Next one. It's going to get more difficult now. Two numbers that add to make 13 and times to make 36. This is a tricky one. Those two numbers would have to be 9 and 4. Because 9 times 4 is 36, and 9 add 4 is 13. Right, harder again. Got to add to make 1 and times together to make minus 30. This one would be positive 6 and negative 5. Because positive 6 times negative 5, because the signs are different, makes minus 30. And they add together to make positive 1. Last one. Right, two numbers that add to make negative 15 and times together to make 56. You've got negative 7 and negative 8, because minus 7 and minus 8 times together to make 56, and minus 7 and minus 8 add together to make positive 15. Right then, so this is the reason I did that, okay? The reason I went through all of that is because, okay, because of this in front of us. Now, the way you factorise in the two brackets, okay, I've got an x and an x. You've got to work out two numbers that multiply to make positive 18 and add to make positive 9. Okay, so I'm going to work out two numbers that multiply to make positive 9, positive 18, and add to make positive 9. So the easiest way to do this, okay, if you're not confident, is to list your numbers down the right hand side that multiply to make the number on the right. I can think of 1 and 18, 2 and 9, and 3 and 6. So it's got to be a combination of these. I've got to go in my brackets, okay? I think to make positive 9, it's going to be a combination of 3 and 6. And they're going to be positive 3 and positive 6 because it's a positive 9. So my answer is x plus 3, x plus 9. And that's it. That's that factorised. Okay, that's all factorising is. You're putting it back into double brackets. Same thing down the bottom. Okay, I'm putting this back into two brackets. So I've got x and x again. Okay, multiplying to make positive 12 this time. And I'm adding to make positive 7. 12, you can do 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. Because it's got to be a combination. It's got to be one of these pairs. Okay, the ones that add to make 7 are 3 and 4, so I'm going to put those in my bracket. Then, it's to make a positive 7, they're going to have to be positive 3 and positive 4. So my answer is going to be x plus 3, x plus 4. They mean the same thing. If you've done FOIL before, you'll know expanding brackets, you get that as an answer. Okay, that's your answer. That's for all factorising is. Can you have a go, please, at the ones on the right-hand side? Using the same steps as before. If you're not sure, just wait for me, and in a minute, I'm going to go through it now. Right, guys, these two on the right-hand side, following the same steps, okay? I need two numbers to go in my double bracket. They multiply. I'm just going to change this because it's not very good looking. Undo. They multiply to make positive 6 and they add to make negative 5. So it does get more difficult when one of the numbers is a negative number, but it's still the same thing. The pairs that multiply to make positive 6, you could either have 1 and 6 or 2 and 3. So it's got to be a version of these. The only way you can make 5 is with 2 and 3, so I'm going to go with those. 2 and 3. Now, if they were to make a negative 5, the only way I can make one of those is by having negative 2 and negative 3. It's the only way I could make negative 5. Okay, so 2 and 3, minus 2 times minus 3 makes positive 6, and minus 2 and minus 3 combine to make negative 5. Okay, so that's your final answer. Down the bottom, two brackets. Okay, I got x squared plus 14x plus 48. Okay, write down the numbers, the times to make 48. Okay, don't worry about the adding part just yet. I got 1 and 48, 2 and 24, 3 and 16, 4 and 12, and 6 and 8. So there's lots to make 48, okay? So you have to do a little big list on the right hand side for that one. Okay, looking at that, which ones combine to make positive 14? I'm going to go with 6 and 8, so it's going to be x. They're all pluses, so it's going to be x plus 6, x plus 8. And if you want to check your answer at the end, I know 6 times 8 is 48, and 6 add 8 makes positive 14. So mark your answers for so far. That's all factorising is, factorising quadratics. It's not a difficult topic at all. Right, guys, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes just to have a go at those for me, please. Either do standard on the left or challenge on the right. Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes just to have a go at those, just to do a little bit of factorising. Then I'll move on. Right, guys, last minute on this, then I'm going to move on. Right then, so can you, for me, can you mark whatever you've done so far? There's all the answers. If you got them all right, you've absolutely smashed this, okay? And I'm really proud of you. Okay, if you got some of them right, that's really good. If you got lots wrong, please just drop me a message or see me in school when we do get back. I'm more than happy to help and support you if you got any wrong. Right then, guys, so moving on to solving part, okay? So every single GCSE criteria question will always have a solving aspect at the end. So these are the examples we did earlier on, okay? So if I go back to what we did earlier on, we had an x plus 6 and x plus 3 for the first one. That was what we did to factorise it, okay? And all that was equal to 0. That's what we decided, okay? From there, looking at this now, they're multiplying together to make an answer of 0. So what that would mean is either this bracket has to make 0 or that bracket has to make 0. For this bracket to times with that bracket to make 0, this bracket, the x, would have to be negative 6. Okay? If this bracket was to be 0 and it was to times together to make 0, that x would have to be negative 3. So essentially your answer is the opposite of whatever's in your bracket. Okay, down the bottom, same thing. Okay, I got x plus 7, x plus 12. Okay, we decided it was x plus 3, x plus 4, all equal to 0. Okay, if I want to cancel these out to make an answer of 0, it would have to be x equals minus 3 or x equals minus 4. Okay, only those two answers would give us an answer of minus 3 or minus 4. That's the only ones that would work to equal 0 to make this equation work. Right, guys, have a go at the ones on the right-hand side. I will fill in the bits. I'm only give you 30 seconds or so. I will fill in the bits that we wrote down earlier on. So it'll be x minus 3, x minus 2 equals 0. And then with x plus 6, x plus 8 equals 0. Okay, guys, have a go at solving those for me, please. So if you finish, your answer for the first one will either be x equals positive 3 to cancel out that bracket, or x equals positive 2. Your answer for the second one would x equal negative 6, or x would equal negative 8. Now we're going to do a GCSE question on this now, so stay tuned in. Right then, so in order to prove to yourself and me how well you've done at this, okay, have a go at that. That is an actual GCSE question off a 2017 paper, I think. Okay, it's off of paper 1. It's worth 3 marks. These are banker marks. It doesn't matter how many marks a question is worth. Certain questions like this one, where they just change the numbers every single time, but it's the same question, you've got to get right. I'm going to go through that in a minute and a half. Right, guys, so this question, okay, exactly as we've done all day. Okay, I'm going to put this into 2 brackets. Okay, it's going to be x and x. Okay, I've got to find 2 numbers that multiply to make negative 18 and they add to make negative 7. The numbers that multiply to make 18, you can use 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. So those are the only options you have. Now looking at those, if I want to make an answer of 7, the only way I can make an answer of 7 is with 2 and 9, because they've got a gap of 7. Now, I'm making a negative 7, so in order to make a negative 7, it would have to be negative 9 and would have to be positive 2. All of that equals 0. Now, remember what I said earlier on? Okay, x plus 2 and x plus 9, they've got to times together to make 0. Okay, in order to do that, it's got to be the opposite of plus 2. So it would have to be negative 2 to cancel out to make 0. Or this bracket could equal 0. X would have to be positive 9 to cancel out with our negative 9 to make 0. So your two solutions are x minus 2x equals 9. If you got that right, you have absolutely mastered this today, and I'm really proud of you. If you didn't quite get it right, have another look through when this video goes up. Okay, maybe you need to spend a little bit more time on the questions. Maybe have a look at the example again. Okay, guys, well done. I'm really proud of all of you. If you need any help, let me know.